Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today as we're having a pretty good Sunday. I'm going to be doing another Saturday night's main event. This time we're going to be covering April 30th of 1988. I was able to watch this earlier this week. I have one day a week where honestly nobody's home except for me. And there's nothing really good. We haven't started NBA action yet. There's no NFL on Tuesdays. There'll be some baseball playoffs, but the last few weeks, I've been catching some classic WWF action, watching some Saturday night's main events, and honestly, I've had some pretty good Tuesday nights. Really, really good. This one's a fun one. This one, of course, is right after WrestleMania 4. We have a new champion. The Macho Man Randy Savage was crowned WWF champion at WrestleMania 4, defeating Ted DiBiase in the main event. We've pretty much put together the Mega Powers. This is a really, really good episode with a lot of people being featured on the show. It's one of the first Saturday night's main events where Hulk Hogan, I'm not sure if it's the first one where he is not present on the show. We don't see him at all, honestly. But he's not the champion. I think the whole run of Saturday night's main event until 1988 after WrestleMania 4, Hulk Hogan is the champion of the WWF. I don't think we ever had any Bob Backlund or Iron Sheik action. I think that once Hogan started running with the ball, I think that's when Dick Ebersol and NBC picked up the phone and said, we want to be in the WWF business. Pretty much everybody featured on the show, I think, was in the tournament. We've got Hacksaw, Jim Duggan, Andre the Giant. We had Macho Man Randy Savage, the One Man Gang, Don Muraco, and Ted DiBiase featured in it. We had Jim Duggan had his moment in the sun at WrestleMania 4. I'm not sure if Danny Davis was there. I'm sure Beefcake. But this was a star-studded event. They honestly had the best of the best, the biggest stars that you wanted to see. Because, like I said in the last episode that we talked about, it's work. You know, especially when there's no DVRs back in the day. Yes, there are VCRs. You could have easily programmed your VCR. But I'll tell you the truth. In my world, in 1988, we weren't really doing that yet. I'm not sure if 89, 90 that catches on. I know I used to record Unsolved Mysteries all the time because, shoot, it came on after my bedtime. and I loved watching that show. But I don't know. I think that honestly you wanted to watch Saturday night's main event. It was a treat. You made sure that you were good all week. You made sure that you got your homework done. And the boss, my dad, let it slide. He's staying up until 1 a.m. And it's no guarantee. He might tell you can watch it. But, you know, there might be a commercial during one of the matches. And you're just so damn tired from, you know, being up all day. You fall asleep. So, I mean, it is work to watch these back in the day. First match of the night is going to be Hacksaw Jim Duggan going up against Hercules. Hercules comes out to the ring with Bobby the Brain Heenan and Andre the Giant. Andre must not be helping out the $1 Million Man anymore and has been sold back to Bobby Heenan because he comes out in the corner of Hercules. This match is mostly to set up the Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Andre the Giant feud. They showed it in a clip. I'm not really sure where the clip came from, if it's just a house show that they recorded, or it was on prime time, or an episode of WWF Superstars. But we basically have a match between Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Andre the Giant, where pretty much Hacksaw, besides for Hulk Hogan, is one of the first guys to get the best of Andre the Giant. Yeah, he does use the 2x4 to gain an advantage, but that's part of who Hacksaw Jim Duggan is. This right here is some classic wrestling with just so many people being on the outside. Andre and Bobby Heenan, interfering in the match. That even once it comes down to Hacksaw is going to get the win and beat Hercules. Bobby the Brain Heenan, just no care in the world, just runs in the ring and just starts beating on Hacksaw Jim Duggan. The referee has to throw it out as disqualification. Once it's disqualified, basically Andre gets into the ring, he gets into the muck, and it's a 3-on-1 affair of everybody beating down on Hacksaw. And to my biggest surprise, the guy who comes running out of the back to make the save, I'm not 100% sure. But I think this is the first televised thing that I saw the Ultimate Warrior on. Ultimate Warrior comes running down to the ring, grabs the 2x4, and starts beating off all of the heels there in the ring. And Ultimate Warrior saves Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I believe this is the introduction. I know that once you watch, like, the Ultimate Warrior documentary, or you watch that thing where they tore him to pieces back in like 2005, the Disrespect of the Ultimate Warrior. That's not the name of it. I can't remember what it was. I just watched it within the last couple of months, and I did a video on it, but I can't remember what it was. I know he'd done some house shows. Maybe he'd done some wrestling challenges or some superstars, like some jobber matches. But this I think, was honestly the first time I saw the Ultimate Warrior. Because I think one of the first big matches he had, or was he on WrestleMania 5? Is WrestleMania 5 when he wrestles the Blue Blazer? I'm not 100% sure. But this, to me, was the introduction of the Ultimate Warrior. From there, we go to Brutus and Barber Beefcake going up against, I don't know what they're doing here, Dangerous Danny Davis, the referee turned wrestler, and then once he didn't have any more feuds to have, just flat out turned into a referee again. And they never talked about the time as him being a wrestler. It was a storyline that played out a lot like the NWO with Nick Patrick. But Dangerous Danny Davis was put in some high-quality matches. He wrestled at WrestleMania. He wrestled at Survivor Series. He wrestled at SummerSlam. He had Jimmy Hart as a manager. So it was almost like he was a mainstream fall guy. He got in some storylines where you cared about him. But he always just basically took the loss. So I don't really know what put him into the spot. But I don't know. I mean, basically, you think of Jimmy Hart's stable. Maybe they could have put one of their tag teams out there in a single spot. We saw Greg the Hammer Valentine with Jimmy Hart wrestle against Brutus the Barber Beefcake last month on Saturday Night's Main Event. Maybe there could have been some sort of a rematch. The whole payout of this basically was that Brutus the Barber Beefcake did not win the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, but he did cut Jimmy Hart's hair. And this match here is supposed to be like revenge, where Danny Davis is going to beat down Brutus Beefcake. Jimmy Hart has his hair hidden underneath a beret. They're making it seem like his long, locks coming off the back are all cut. He didn't cut that much. and you can tell that Jimmy Hart, basically has them all tucked in. This match really is nothing much here. It really just comes down to Brutus the Barber Beefcake pulling out the shears, cutting Dangerous Danny Davis's hair and going after Jimmy Hart. I mean, basically, when it all comes down to it, the Brutus the Barber Beefcake, he wasn't a 5-star match classic, but it is fun to see him when he's out there, and he can carry a match. From there, we go to Macho Man Randy Savage. He is your WWF champion at this point, going up against the one-man gang with Slick. Basically, when they make their introductions and they come down to the ring, the payoff on this is that, yes, the Macho Man Randy Savage did beat the one-man gang, but they're trying to see, is it possible for him to do it again? If you remember at WrestleMania, Macho Man Randy Savage had a match in every round. The one-man gang, I believe because of what happened during the Butch Reed match, had a bye at WrestleMania. So they're saying, like, let's see if Savage has enough luck to beat the gang again. They make the one-man gang look like he's honestly a big deal. He just basically lets Slick do the talking for him, and he just... I don't know what that is, but that's basically what he does after Slick runs his mouth for so long. Beginning of this match is basically them getting into the ring, and then Slick sort of chasing Elizabeth around. I think that was Slick playing with the Macho Man Randy Savage's mind, kind of. But Savage just gets out of the ring, chases Slick around, and Slick runs to the back like he wants no part of Savage. We go to a commercial. We come out of the commercial, and Slick has made his way back down to ringside, but we're ready to get down to action. This match, mostly the one-man gang works him over. Slick's getting involved into the ring, but at one point, Slick just plays his hand a little bit too much, gets up into the ring, and just basically hits the one-man gang on accident. Macho Man climbs up to the top rope, comes off with the elbow, and is able to get the 1, 2, 3. A different kind of match that we've seen in a WWF Championship match on Saturday night's main event. We mostly see Hulk Hogan kind of fighting off the big monsters, wrestling in matches that he had no business in winning, but it was kind of like the heel would just beat him down, and Hulk would Hulk up. And he would get the win, and he would pose, and everybody would go down happy. Even though it's against the one-man gang, Macho Man kind of, brought wrestling back to wrestling, and there we go from there. We got the British Bulldogs with Matilda going up against Demolition and Mr. Fuji. Demolition is your WWF Tag Team Champions, but for some reason this is a non-title match. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on here or what they're really building to. Normal tag team match with a lot of action. Going back and forth, and to the point where the British Bulldogs storm into the ring. They've got Mr. Fuji's cane, and they just put the beating on Demolition, and they ended up getting disqualified. I don't know what the British Bulldogs thought they were going to get. A championship match about losing this match, even if it was via disqualification. Basically, they just snapped. Maybe this is their way of moving them down the card. And maybe with the turn of the Hart Foundation, moving them in for being the suitors to follow after Demolition to see if anybody can take those belts off. From there, we're going to go to Don The Rock Muraco, going up against the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. This is a rematch coming right out of WrestleMania 4. They're making it look like, hey, Ted DiBiase didn't get the job done, but if he wants to be able to get another title shot to go after the Macho Man Randy Savage, the money is not going to be doing the walking for him. They're really going to have to make him earn it to see if he can deserve going after the championship again. So, this match basically comes down to Ted DiBiase doing a reversal on Don the Rock Muraco. Well, I think what they're paying off on is at one point Muraco had DiBiase beat, and Virgil was able, when the ref wasn't looking, to pick up DiBiase's foot and put it on the rope, which caused a break in the count. And the match had to keep going. From there, we had Ted DiBiase get a reversal on Muraco, basically hitting him right in the throat, which then caused Muraco not to be able to go on anymore, and DiBiase was able to pin him right there in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. A lot of Virgil on the outside. Superstar Billy Graham, a former WWF champion, was there as well, but he wasn't able to do anything from there. And I think just as filler, basically, to make sure that they fill out the hour and a half, we have Koko Ware coming out there with Frankie. He's flapping his wings. You can't go wrong. Going up against Ravishing Rick Rude. This match is to put over Rick Rude because he's going to be moving up the card in the Intercontinental title picture. He's going to be starting up a feud with Jake the Snake Roberts soon, trying to, win over the love of Cheryl Roberts. This one's just going to end in the Rude Awakening. the 1, 2, 3. Really, really good show coming out of WrestleMania 4. I'm sure there was a lot of people who didn't really follow wrestling day in, day out, and it being on NBC, this was their first chance to see what happened at WrestleMania, that there is going to be a new champion. They're sort of moving into a new era where Hulk Hogan is off making a movie, No Holds Barred. We don't know when we're going to see him again. Obviously, once we get to WrestleMania 5, we're going to see the Mega Powers explode with Savage versus Hogan. But that's a long way from now. And Hogan still did Saturday night's main events. He still did a lot of house shows. I'm not sure how much of them we really saw on prime time, but I'm sure he shot a lot of interviews. So I'm sure that he was in the picture, even though he wasn't really around. And we were rolling with the Randy Savage time. So we'll see what happens with the next episode of Saturday Night's Main Event. I'm sure that's where I'm going to stick at and where I'm going to keep plugging away. So hope you guys enjoy it. Peace out. See you guys down the road.